Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to use cookie in an HTML page to save the user's preferred color. So when they come back, anytime they come back to the same page under the same URL or domain, they will get the exact same background color. Okay, let's start. So what I'm planning to do is trying to ask the user to get the color code and then save it into the cookie and apply it to the page. If user does not provide me any color, I still should be able to retrieve that information too. So let's go ahead and create a static variable for now, BG color we call it, and I'll put a color code here, something like that. And then if I want to apply this to the page background, let me just make this one a bit bigger so you guys can see it better. So I can simply go ahead and say document.body.style.background color is equal BG color. Okay? So if I do such thing, simply it's going to apply the background color to the page. Let me just show you the result. So here you go. This is added already. So I'm going to go back to the page, and now what I want to do is this. I want to go ahead and make this dynamic. I can ask it from the user. So simply, instead of doing this, I can go ahead and add prompt if I need to. So yeah, I can say prompt. Let's just go here, prompt, and background color and color code. Right? So I can do it this way if I need to, but for simplicity at this moment, I'm just going to comment this. So I just hard code the value for now, right? Later on, we're going to open up. So the very first thing I have to do is when the user enters the information, I have to see if the color code has been entered or not. Let me show you something. If I go back here, open the inspect element and go to the console and paste this one here, this is what I get. So if I go and type blue, I get the blue color, right? If I go and click on cancel, I'll get null. So simply I can go back here and say if BG color has value, simply this is where I'm going to create my cookie, the cookie that holds the background color for later use. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to say document.cookie equal, and so I'll go call it BG color. Okay, it can be any name as long as you know what to refer to, how to get this value later on. Equal. So I'm going to put this one here, and now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and add the BG color I received from the user or hard coded myself into the cookie. Right? Does that make sense? Okay, let's go ahead and check the value now. So if I go to the browser, let me just make this one a bit smaller for you, and I type document.cookie, I will see the BG color is added there. I can even see it under the application tab, right? So if I go to application, under cookie, the URL, I can simply see the value is BG color, right? It has the value of the color that I add, domain, session, and so on. So what I want to do next is I want to go ahead and add expiry to this session. So it would not be a session-based cookie, and it can last a little bit longer, maybe 1 day or 1 month or 1 week and so on. Okay, let's go back to the code and start implementing that. So right in here, the very first thing I got to do is I have to put a semicolon, and I'm going to use the max age. Really, it doesn't matter which one you use at this moment, as long as you know we can specify the expiry date. So what I will do is I could hard code this, but I wanted to show you that the calculation I do here as well, so you can get a better idea. So what I do is I get the 1 day and then multiply this by 30. So this means this cookie should be stay in the browser for 30 days. So let's go ahead, save this, go back to the browser and see the result right here. Look, so simply what happened here right now, it simply went and start adding a date to the session as expiry date. Okay, next go and follow with the rest of the steps. So what I want to do is this. I'm saying if the color is passed, simply go ahead and create the cookie. But what I want to do now is I want to be able to access the VG color from the cookie and assign it to the background color of this document. So if you remember from the other video, there are a few ways to access these information. So if I go here, as I said, you simply have a cookie. I can go ahead and in this case I can go ahead and say dot split, and what is the separator in between these two value? As you can see, it's an equal sign, right? So I'm going to go put the equal sign in there. I do get an array, right? And if I save this one into a variable, let's say x, right? And then I can simply say x at 0 will give me the name of the array, and 1, it gives me the value, right? So let's go ahead and write this code. So I can go ahead and simply create another variable. I'll call it cookie color equal document.cookie.split. I'm going to split it. Remember, because I have only one cookie, this will work. Otherwise, you have to search the entire string, meaning you're going to go through every single cookie and figure out if this is the value, if this is the cookie name that you're looking for. So if I go here, this one will actually split this. It returns an array, and I can simply get the the second element of this array, which is the color. So this means if I go and change this one with cookie color, it should not change anything. Let's go back here. I don't see any issue, right? So the color has been changed, and let's go ahead and make this dynamic now. So if I go and remove this and put the prompt in there, simply if I come up here, right, I can put the blue color here. It's going to change the color. I go ahead, I can cancel, still it does that. I'm going to close everything here and reopen it. Let me just bring the thing here. As you can see, it's still blue without me running the code. So now that the cookie is saved there, if I go back to inspect element, go to the application tab, I can see it. I can see all the information matching with what I have created. So that's all for the creation of the path. Of course, I could do some addition. I could go ahead and right at the end, I could go ahead and say, okay, you know what? I want a path to be equal slash, and this means that simply this cookie is valid to the whole subfolder and the folder under the same domain. If I go put green, this means on the main domain slash green, only this is valid. I can go and make this secure, meaning this can run only, sorry, I have to do it this way, right? Secure. So this can run only under HTTPS. So I can go ahead and add HTTP only as well. So that way I have specified all the possible fields. There are still a few fields that I can add. For instance, I can add the domain. If I go here to javascript.info, has more explanation. So let me explain it off here. So it's going to be better to understand it as well. So if you look at the domain, you cannot actually specify the domain name unless it's your own domain name or this page is under the same domain name. But you can use the domain attribute in the cookie whenever you want to cover this domain to be accessible only on a subdomain or all the subdomains and so on. So simply something like that, you have an alias at the beginning of your domain name. We also have talked about the maximum secure. Same site was another field that you can actually protect from so-called cross-site request forgery attack. So that way no other site can actually access this cookie. It must be on the same URL or same site or same domain, right? And it has also an example that you can simply look at this. So I really encourage you to look at the JavaScript info later on. Okay. So now that we have completed this, if I go ahead and simply go ahead and do this, comment all these 3 lines, what I end up having is I am reading a value from a cookie. I'm assuming the cookie is there. Of course, you have to test if the cookie is there or not, right? And if it is there, I'm going to read the information and post it into the background color. Let's go back to the page and make sure everything works. So I right click, go live server. Here you go. So as you can see, simply the page comes up, and no matter how many times I do this, it's gonna stay there for 30 days and it will not get expired. Just keep in mind, if you have more than one cookie, simply you have to split them by the semicolon and then split them by the equal sign to access individual cookie. The best way of doing this is writing a function which can actually get you the value. It goes through the information that you pass, and then simply it also looks for the expiry date to make sure one of these options is the type of the date. So it changes to a true UTC string and uses it as an expiry date. And one of the things I didn't mention in my tutorial is whenever you receive a value and you want to set the name and the value of the cookie, it's a good idea to use encode URL component to actually remove all this special, not remove all this special character, but make them less a special character, per se, for any value you store in the cookie. Now, if you use encode URL component to save the information into the cookie, their name or the value, you have to use decode URL component to retrieve the value. So take a look at these two functions. Definitely is going to help you down the road, and you can use them in your project too. That's all for this video. Probably I will have another video to show you how you can track the list of visitors, individual visitor to a page. That's all for today, and have a good day.